Hey guys, welcome back to Shristi Tech Academy. When Java 8 came out, many were excited with functional programming like Streams API, Lambdas, and also about method references and datetime API. But what happened after that? Many developers got stuck there and did not have time to explore what happened next. Meanwhile, Java has evolved massively starting from JShell or modules in Java 9 to records and sealed classes, text blocks, and even virtual threads and sequence collection API in Java 21. So today, let us take a quick journey through the top 10 features from Java 9 to Java 21 that every modern Java developer should know. Let us get started. Let us first start with the Java 9 feature modules. What is a module? A module is a group of packages, resources together with module descriptor file. Whenever you are creating a Java project, if you notice, by default module-info.java file will be generated. This is the module descriptor file. It has the details about the module, as in the name of the module, what this module depends on, what this module consumes, what this module provides, whether the module can be exported. All these information will be available in module-info.java. Have you ever tried creating modules? Whatever Java projects that we are creating now are considered as modules only, which means each project behaves as a module. A module is a package of packages. Let me show it to you. This is my Java project. If I open JRE system library, whatever you are seeing here, these are modules. The modules are distributed as jar. Whatever you are seeing here are jars, are exported projects, which means compiled projects. Let me minimize this. Let me open SRC. In the bottom I have module-info.java. This has the details about the module. This is called as the module descriptor file. Okay, I told you that you have already created modules many a times. How? When you create a Java project, by default this is a module only. See here, if I give the name of my project as my project with first letter uppercase, automatically I am getting a suggestion on the top. Discouraged module name. By convention, module names usually start with the lowercase letter, which means whatever projects I am having here are actually modules. But we are neglecting them as modules and we are considering them as normal Java projects only. What a mess. See in the bottom, automatically module-info.java file will be created. If you want to give a specific name for this particular module, you can also add it. Now let me cancel this. I will go back to the slide. What is the purpose of module? As in, why we need module? Module helps to organize large applications. It controls what is exposed. As in, you can decide what are the packages that you want to expose, what are the packages that should be kept private. Modules also help to create your Java application in a modular way which supports better maintainability. Modules can be distributed as jar or exported, which means compiled project. The Java documentation has been completely changed from Java version 9. They are developed as modules. So these are few modules which we have seen in Eclipse. They are available in Java. So the essence of module is every modern Java application should be modular in nature. The purpose is better maintainability. Each module will have its own specific purpose. Now still more we will deep dive into modules. What does a module have? Packages, resources and module descriptor. Packages are used to determine what code is publicly visible outside the module. Which code is private, which code is public, all these can be decided with the help of packages. Resources. Media and configuration files that are available in the module are called as resources. The next one is module descriptor. Already I told you the file name is module-info.java. It has all the details about the module, the name of the module, the dependencies that this module has, what are the packages that are exposed publicly to be accessed outside the module, what are the services that are provided by this module, what are the services that are consumed by this module. Reflection permissions, which means it explicitly allows certain classes to use reflection to access the private members. Means whenever I want to access the private members of the other class, it is not possible. So for that we can use reflection API. Permission means the module explicitly allows certain classes to access the private members of other classes. For this it uses reflection API. Now let us see an example of module. Module name. Here you can see there are few keywords. Uses, requires static, provides with, exports. What are these? These are called as module directives, which means this indicates what a module has to do. Uses means the dependency of this particular module. This module consumes calculator module. That is, second module consumes calculator. Requires means second module depends on first module and fourth module. Requires static. The dependent module should be available both in runtime and compile time. In case of requires static, it is enough that it should be available in the compile time. Next, provides with, which means this fourth module is offering a service. See here, provides a service implementation. Provides with or offering a service implementation. Then exports, which means this module can be exported so that other modules can use them. Fourth module is exported and second module is using fourth module as a dependency. These are few directives that you can use with module. In one of the upcoming videos, I will create a detailed video on how to create and work with modules. Till that time, this is enough. We will move on to the next feature. This is also from Java 9, JShell. JShell is used to run Java code snippets instantly. You don't have to create a class at all, which means from the command line, I can run my Java constructs directly, be it a class or Java statements or for loop or if statements. Any Java construct you want to run, you can run it directly from the command line. This Java shell is also known as REPL. Read, evaluate, print loop. Usually front-end developers are very well versed in this REPL. How? Because in case of Google Chrome, you can execute all JavaScript constructs from the console of Google Chrome. This is from Node.js, which uses V8 engine. REPL. Node.js also allows us to execute JavaScript constructs directly from the command prompt. Here JShell supports to execute Java constructs. What is the advantage? It is only for quick testing and learning. Let's say I am learning about for loop. If I have to test it, I need to download an IDE or use Notepad, create a class, write the code and then execute it. But if you are using JShell, it is way too easy. See over here, I have executed few Java statements. First, from the command prompt, we need to enter the shell. For that, type JShell. These are few statements that I have executed. Few more. This is an example of using Java constructs directly from the command prompt using JShell. Okay. And see the inputs. I want to know what packages are available. And see this command. This will show you all the packages that are available in Java. So, JShell is like a calculator for your Java code. If you want to execute few code snippets of Java for learning purpose, this is the best tool. We will move on to the next feature. This is from Java 10, local variable type inference. What is the meaning of it? Whenever we want to create a variable in Java, it is mandatory that we need to specify the data type, string, double, boolean, integer. But now in Java 10, they introduced a keyword called as var. This var can be used only with local variable. It supports type inference, which means if I type var x is equal to 10, automatically it will understand x is of data type int. If I write var x is equal to Priya, then it will understand x is of data type string. Based on the value that you are providing for your variable, this var will be considered as that particular data type. Can I use var keyword everywhere? No. Var keyword can be used only with local variable. Whenever you are using var keyword, it is mandatory that you need to initialize it while declaring itself, or else it will give you a compiler error, which means var keyword can be used only with local variables with initializers. You cannot initialize a variable to null that uses var keyword. So mandatory assign value. It is local variable type inference, which means you cannot use it for non-local variables. That is, you cannot use it for static variables or instance variables, only for variables inside a method. It can also be used in for each and for loop. See the example given over here. The first one is list.off, which means the data type of numbers is list. In the second case, I have used var number colon numbers. Every individual element is an int data type. So here var automatically is getting converted into int. This var also can be used with index. Var I is equal to 0. Okay. This is fine. In which scenario should I not use var? We will see that also. As we discussed, you cannot use var with a variable which is not initialized. You should not initialize a variable to null. You cannot use it with public variables. It can be used only within methods. That is only with local variables. The next one. You cannot use var keyword with lambda expressions and with arrays. In case of array, it needs explicit target type. Lambda as well needs explicit target type. Remember, type inference doesn't mean dynamic typing. What is dynamic typing? In JavaScript, let's say I am declaring a variable as var x is equal to 100. Now the data type of x is int. After few lines of code, if I change it to x is equal to Priya, now the data type of x is changed to string. This is allowed in JavaScript. This is called as dynamic typing. In Java, it is not allowed. Let's say I am declaring a variable as var x is equal to 10. Based on the value that you have given, it will understand that x is of data type int. Once the data type is fixed, it cannot be changed. Here, based on the value, the data type is determined. This is called as type inference. Okay. These are the places where you should not use var. There are also few more things. Can I use var in these scenarios? The result of a method. This is okay, but it is not a good idea because we really don't know what is the data type of greet. It may be string or integer or object or any other data type. So it's not a good idea. When you are working with streams, it is better that you don't use var as a data type for the return value. Next, when you are creating an array list like this and assigning var as the data type, then this becomes an array list of object, not array list of book. Explicitly you want to create it as an array list of book or array list of an employee, means pass the generic type. Now we will move on to the next feature. This is from Java 11. New utility methods that were introduced in string class. The methods are isBlank, strip, repeat, lines. I don't even have to tell you what the purpose of these methods are. The name itself is implicit. Blank is to check whether a string is blank. Lines. If I am having a string and if I am using .lines method, automatically it will be converted into stream of string. Whatever methods are applicable for Streams API, you can avail it over here also. The next method is strip. It is used for removing the white spaces both on the prefix and on the suffix side. That is the leading and trailing white spaces. We are having explicit methods for that also. Strip trailing, strip leading. Repeat. If you want to repeat a string for a particular number of time, you can use the method repeat. Let me show you an example. Is blank. See here, in both cases there is no value, so it is returning true. If I am using is empty, first one will return false, second one will return true. In case of is blank, if it is not having any value, it is blank only. Next one is dot strip. So the space before Priya and after Priya will be stripped. You can see. Next one, strip trailing. Remove the space after the string. See the output. Strip leading. Remove the space before the string, and this is the output. The next method is dot repeat of 5, which means the string will be repeated 5 times. Okay. Next one. We are using lines method. The purpose of lines method is to convert your string into a stream of string. But remember, it will convert each and every line into one single value. In our case, I am having the value as have a great day /n hello, which means I am having 2 lines. So this stream has 2 values. The first value is have a great day, second value is hello. If I have not added /n, then this will go as one single value only. Dot lines will convert your string into a stream of string based on the number of lines that you are having. If you have not introduced /n, everything will go as one single value. If you have introduced /n, that many number of lines will be generated and they will go as a stream. Now that you have used lines, the output is a stream. I can call all the methods of Streams API. Here I am using for each to print the value. The next one is I am calling the method of Streams API count. How many lines are there? 2 lines are there. It will print the output as 2. So these are few utility methods which were introduced in string class in Java 11. We will move on to the next feature. Java 14, switch expression. Many of you would have heard about switch expressions. What is this? This is our switch which can return a value. Till Java 13, if I want to do selection, either I can use if statement or I can work with switch statement. Whenever I want to check for multiple conditions, it is better to use switch. But that switch will never return a value. Now we are using switch expressions. Switch expressions return a value. I have given a complete video about how to work with switch expressions. I will give the link of that video in the description. Okay, now let us discuss about it. Switch can return values directly. You don't have to add break statements. What we emphasize when we are working with switch, it is mandatory that you need to add a break statement. If you don't do, all the cases after that will be getting executed automatically. But in this case you don't need it because there is a return value which will be assigned to the output of switch case. In case of switch, you can either use the arrow syntax or you can use the colon syntax with yield. Let us see this with the example. So here I have a switch case. I have written the first case. This is the same syntax what we have been using. Value followed by colon. Now I have got multiple lines of code. Usually we don't add curly braces because we are having break statement. But now we are going to return a value, put this within curly braces. Add all your functionality. Now you need to return a value. For returning the value, the keyword that we will be using is yield. Yield the value that you want to return. The value that I want to return is of data type string, so I am capturing it in a string variable. I repeat, if you are returning an int value, you need to capture it in an int data type. Now here I am returning a string value, so I am capturing it in a string data type. And one important thing is, when you are working with the other switch statement, it is not mandatory that you need to use a default statement. If you don't do it, If none of the cases match, you will not get any output. But if you are working with switch expression, it is mandatory that you need to use default keyword. Okay, and in case of default, I am explicitly throwing an exception. Because you need to return something, right? From default also you are supposed to return something. So either I can have multiple lines of code or I can throw an exception also. So now let us see it again. Switch can return values. You don't need break statements. Your return value can be assigned either using yield keyword or you can use arrow. Default cases must in case of switch expression. Now let us see a proper example. I am having a string, converting it into uppercase, passing the string in switch. We are having case. How many cases? 1, 2, 3 case statements and 1 default which is mandatory. This time I am not using colon, rather I am using arrow. Start with the curly braces within which whatever statements you want to add it, end it with the return value. The return value should be of data type string. That's what I have given. Now the second case. In the second case, I don't have multiple lines of code. I have only one single line of code. So directly I can provide the value. My dear guys, this is similar to lambda expression. If you are having multiple lines of code, when you are working with lambda, you have to use curly braces and you need to add a return statement. If you are having only one single line of code, then no need of curly braces, no need of return statement. Same is the case here. No need of curly braces, no need of yield. Directly provide the value that you want to return. Okay, and no break also. This is the third case. Then default is mandatory. In default, either you can provide a value like this or you can throw an exception. Both are fine. So what is the advantage of switch expression? Earlier, if I am using if statements, from within if statements, whenever I want to return an output directly from if or from switch, it was possible from if, not possible from switch. But now that problem is solved. Even if you want to call a method and return the output directly, it can be captured by switch expressions. Arrow syntax is equal to less code and more clarity. Rather than writing it like this, it's better that you use the arrow syntax. We will move on to the next feature. This is from Java 15, text blocks. Whenever you are working with string, as in if you are working with a query which runs for multiple lines or a paragraph which runs for multiple lines that has to be assigned to a string variable, means you will be using concatenation operator, that is plus operator. If I have to assign a value to a string variable, I need to add it within double quotes. If I am having multiple lines of code, I will add plus, which is the concatenator, and continue with the values. But now you don't have to use concatenation or /n. Rather, you can use this triple double quotes. Before the string starting point, you give triple quotes, enter your paragraph, end it with triple quotes again. This is called as text block. See the example over here. I am having a query which spans for multiple lines. So I am putting it in multiple lines and adding that complete query inside triple double quotes. This is called as text block. One important thing that you need to remember is you cannot add the ending triple quotes after your string. Starting triple quote is fine, but you cannot add the ending triple quote immediately after the string. This will give you a compiler error. The ending triple quote should be in a separate line. It is not mandatory for the starting triple quote. If you notice, I have given it in the same line here. In this case, I am giving it in a different line. In both the cases, it will work perfectly fine. But the ending triple quote should be in a separate line. What is the purpose of text block? Whenever you are working with big SQL queries or HTML templates or paragraphs or JSON objects, you can use text block rather than using concatenation or /n for sending it to the next line. We will move on to the next feature. The next feature is from Java 16, records. What are records? Records are immutable data carrier classes. The purpose of records is to be used as DTO objects, data transfer objects. Record classes are final. Records cannot extend other classes. It cannot implement other interfaces. Okay. Why do we need records? Records avoid the excessive boilerplate code. When we are working with POJOs in applications, it is mandatory that we need to generate no args constructor, all args constructor, getter setter methods, toString, hash code and equals. To prevent this boilerplate code, we can also work with a third party library which is Lambdas, where all these will be generated automatically. Records also can be used for similar purpose, as in records can be used as DTOs. When you create a record, automatically all args constructor, getter method, toString, hash code equals will be generated. What about setter method? Records are immutable classes, so setter methods will not be generated. There also will not be a no args constructor, which means records can be used only for DTOs. This is the syntax for record. Public record, the record name, within the parenthesis pass the properties of student. In case of a normal Java class, they are called as instance variables. Here they are called as record components. Guys, I have given a detailed video on how to create and work with records. I will give the link of that video in the description. Please go through it. This is an example of record. What else can a record have? A record can have static variables, static block, static method. It also can have concrete method. What a record cannot have? A record cannot have no args constructor. It cannot have setter method because records are immutable by nature. Where will you use records? Use records in DTOs, API responses, API request and value objects. We will move on to the next feature. This is from Java 17, sealed classes. This is a very interesting and important feature that you need to know. Sealed classes restrict the classes that can extend them or implement them, meaning to say that it supports controlled hierarchy. A sealed class chooses its subclasses. Let me explain this with an example. Let's say I am having a vehicle class. The moment I create a vehicle class, any class can extend my vehicle class. It can be bike, car, mobile, product, book, employee, student. Any class can extend vehicle class where the hierarchy is not proper. I don't want this. I don't want all the classes to extend my class. So what I can do? If I make it as final, none of the classes can extend it. If I don't use final, all the classes will extend it. What I need is, I want to pick and choose certain classes and allow them only to extend my class. So for that, we can go in for sealed classes. Sealed classes chooses the subclasses that can extend them. So how it is done? For this, first you need to create your classes sealed. See here, public sealed class vehicle. I don't want all the classes to extend my class. So I am providing permission only for two classes, car and bike. For this, use the keyword permits. The permit keyword provides the classes that extend vehicle class. So a sealed class must be followed by permits keyword along with the name of the subclasses that can extend vehicle class. The purpose of sealed classes is controlled inheritance. Okay, this is fine. But what should be the type of the subclasses that is extending this sealed class? The extending subclasses should be either sealed, non-sealed or final. As in car class and bike class should come under any one of these category. Let me show it to you with a proper example. Here I am having a superclass transaction. I am making it as sealed. Why? If I don't use sealed, every other class will come and extend transaction and use all my methods. So I am making it as sealed and providing permission only for few subclasses: deposit, withdrawal, transfer, legacy transaction. In case of deposit and withdrawal, I don't want to continue with the hierarchy, so I am making the classes as final. If a class is final, no other class can extend it, which means the hierarchy ends here. Next, I have transfer. Again, I am making this transfer class as sealed, which means I want to continue with the proper maintained hierarchy, which means transfer class should permit what are all the subclasses for this class. Transfer permits internal transfer and external transfer. These two classes can be either final or sealed or non-sealed. So we have seen what is final, what is sealed. Then what is non-sealed? Non-sealed is a free way. If a class is non-sealed, it means it is allowing the inheritance but it is not controlled. Public non-sealed legacy transaction extends transaction. Now what happens? Any class can come and extend legacy transaction. Why? This is not a sealed class. It is a non-sealed class. Any class can be a subclass of legacy transaction. So what is the purpose of sealed classes? Sealed classes helps in controlling the inheritance and the hierarchy. Okay, we will move on to the next feature. Finally, we have reached Java 21. In Java 21, we are going to discuss two features. One is virtual threads, the other one is sequence collection API. What are virtual threads? You all know what is a thread. Thread is a separate path of execution. Whenever you want to do multiple operations or intensive IO operations, you can use threads. Whatever threads we have been working with, they were all managed by the OS. But now, these virtual threads are lightweight threads which supports concurrent applications. These threads are managed by the JVM, not by the OS. But one important thing, these virtual threads are not user threads. When you are creating threads using multi-threaded application, they are all user threads. The application will not terminate till the user thread completes the task. But in case of virtual threads are daemon threads by default. So you should inform the other user threads to wait or the main thread to wait till the virtual thread completes the process. So how do you create a virtual thread? Thread dot start virtual thread. By this line itself, it means that you are starting a thread and also you are running the thread. This is like your run method. Round parenthesis, the implementation is done using Lambda expression. We are using a static method of a thread class to create a virtual thread. The virtual thread is managed by the JVM, not by the OS. Okay. And you can also ask the main thread to wait till the virtual thread completes, then only it has to terminate the application. When to use virtual thread? Whenever you are working with IO bound operations, database calls, HTTP requests, file IO, high concurrency applications in case of microservices, the tasks that spend time waiting, blocking operations. For all that you can work with virtual threads. When you should not use virtual threads? When you are having CPU intensive tasks. For that you use our good old multi-threading. There also you can use executors. The task holding logs for long periods. When you want to have the control of the threads, it is better to use the other threads. Virtual threads are ideal for microservices and web servers. We are in the last feature. This feature is also from Java 21. This is sequenced collection API. In Java 21, they have introduced three main interfaces. One is sequenced collection, sequenced set, sequenced map. What is the purpose of these APIs? It provides consistent API for ordered access. That is, whenever you are trying to retrieve the elements from an array list or hash set or tree map, there are different methods which are available. In case of list, you should use the method get by passing the index. In case of set, you need to call the iterator method and call dot next, or else there is no specific method to retrieve the value from a set. Okay. In case of map, you can use the get method by passing the key. So each and every type of collection has its own type of methods to retrieve the elements. What if I want to have a uniformity between all these classes? So for that purpose only they came up with this sequence collection, sequence set and sequence map. See the example given over here. I am having a linked hash set. You all know linked hash set is an ordered collection. When you are adding the elements will be added accordingly. Now what if I want to add the elements first or last? There are no specific methods available. So for that we can use sequence set. Sequence set is having methods like add first, add last. These methods are also added to list interface as default methods. So even if you are working with array list, you can use methods as add last, add first. You can see the methods. Is there any method as sequenced list? No. There are only sequenced collection, sequenced set, sequenced map. These methods add last, add first, all these are added as default methods in list interface. Okay. How to retrieve the elements? For retrieving, now directly you can use methods as get first, get last. Be it a set or a list, you can use these methods get first, get last. In case of map, you can get it as get first entry, get last entry. Whenever you want to reverse the elements in a list, you can use list iterator. In case of set, you need to explicitly write the logic or you have to use comparator interface. But now they have introduced a method called as reversed. Kindly go and check in the API what are all the methods that are available in sequence collection, sequence set and sequence map. They are very useful. So these are the three interfaces that were added. What are the advantages? Methods like add first, add last, remove first and remove last helps to treat a list or set as a double-ended queue. In which scenario will you be using it? Let's say I am adding elements to a cart. Then I am removing one element from the cart. For adding, undoing it. For that, task scheduling, recent item tracking, for all these we can use these kind of methods. They are very supportive. I will also add a video about this particular topic in detail in the upcoming videos. So use sequence collection for preserving the insertion order. That's all. Guys, Java 9 to 21 brought huge improvements in terms of performance, scalability and readability. From modules to records to sealed classes to virtual threads, Java is now modern, expressive and developer friendly. I hope you enjoyed this video together with me. If you are looking forward for any specific topic in Java, please let me know in the comments. See you in the next video. Thank you.